Focus, focus.
I don't even have it.
Focus.
Thanks, Rylan. Now I'm like, ooh.
Look at my
That's fun. Focus, focus.
Everybody focus.
We kind of switched up math this week, remember? So instead of having a full workshop day tomorrow and making yesterday be really, really hard, we broke it up. So yesterday we started. Who can remind me, for your first point of the day, what math rule we learned about yesterday? And I'm going to give you a hint. Who can remember what that? Oh my goodness gracious! I'm only looking for my friends. What did we learn about yesterday in math? Skylar. What are the friends? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So Addison, we learned about this yesterday. Some of us maybe have heard of this as PEMDAS before. To review, before I talk about what each of these stand for, what is this called? Because it's not just called, please excuse my dear Sally. It's actually a math rule that we need to know. It's not called PEMDAS. River. The order of operations. Ooh, you guys got yourselves 2 points. What do you say? You remembered PEMDAS and you remembered the order of operations. So, Addison, the reason that we did this yesterday is because we are officially starting two-step problems. What are we starting, everybody?
Two-step problem.
I'm sorry, what are we doing?
Two-step problem.
So, for example, we practice problems like 3 times 6 minus 10. So there's two operations happening in here, and we have to know what order do we do these in. Are we gonna multiply first, or are we going to subtract first? So now that you've heard those operation names, who remembers what the P stands for in our please excuse my dear Sally? Keegan. You wanna phone it? Parentheses, everybody, parentheses means do this first. So that's my first one, parentheses, that's the very first step. There's no parentheses in here. So if you have a problem that does not have parentheses, we'll move on.
No, what
So
does it
we
stand
ignore
for?
the E. We'll learn about E's. If you've ever seen a number like up in the corner like this, like it's squared, that's called an exponent. We do not worry about exponents in third grade, so we just skip the E. My second step has to do with the M and the D. Who remembers what the M and the D stand for? Riley. Multiplication and division. So, if there's no parentheses, the next step we always do is we multiply or divide. So that shows me that in this problem, this will be my first step, 3 times 6.
18.
Okay? The third step, oh my word, my friends, I'm giving myself a point right now because I just hear some extra unexpected sounds, like some humming and some thumping of things, so just make sure you're really in a good listening position so that you're helping your brain focus and your neighbors. After we multiply or divide, what can we do last?
Add or subtract?
Go ahead.
I didn't have a question.
Oh, I'm looking right now for what's the A and the S stand for?
Add and subtract.
Add and subtract. Alright, so what's your question? Yep.
Why does it say no for
I bet we'll get to that before we go
It's
on.
because people
So,
are doing karate at recess.
clase.
CC.
We already started this, but I'm going to do this one to show, actually you guys are going to do this one to show Addison because she was gone yesterday. We want to get her caught up. And then Addison, because I know you got a good math brain, after they show you this one, I'm going to give you one to try. You ready? So if you're listening really good? Class, pass. 3 times 6 minus 10. Who can tell me what I need to do to start? And why? Adam.
3 times 6 first because it says please excuse my multiplication.
Bingo. So multiplication has to happen first. Class. 3 times 6 is?
18.
So I have an 18. I draw these carrots because it shows me I've already used my 3 and my 6. So what's left?
18.
minus 10, right? So I've got my minus 10 that I'm going to drop down. 18 minus 10, Brielle. 8. So my final answer is 8. 3 times 6 minus 10 equals 8. Quick recap before I give you a practice problem, Madison. If we don't use the order of operations, if we did, let's say we subtracted first. Well, first of all, can we do 6 minus 10?
No.
So that would be really hard on this one. But even if this were a big number, if I subtracted first, like this one, I would get negative 4 times 3, and negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Are those the same answers?
No.
So we have to follow this rule. It's a very big math rule that if you are solving two-step problems with any other mathematician, all of you know which order to do those operations in.
Why can't we do negative?
You guys are going to be my silent math teachers in the room. So I'm going to give Addison a problem to talk through and solve. And I want you guys showing only your gestures. Like, oh yeah, she's got it. I'm agreeing. She's right. Or, oop, we got some extra practice to do because she missed the whole day. So it might be this. Or it might be like, what am I asking
Probably
you?
gonna be this.
So, should I hear any of my other friends?
No.
Are you ready?
Yes, we are.
You can do it.
I know turn goes through.
Uh-oh. Alright, Addison. If I'm going through parentheses, multiply and divide, and add and subtract. So your first step is
I know
going to
the
be,
whole thing answers already.
should I hear it? Should I hear you?
Times 5.
Yes, we're going to multiply first. So you're totally right. 3 times 5.
15.
3 times 5 is 15. Then what?
Then we add 2.
Mm-hmm.
17. And then that equals 17.
Alright.
She is
Mathematicians in the
correct.
house, let's see these gestures. You're a silent math teacher, so I should just see gestures. Addison, you just got us a double point. What do you guys say?
Oh, yeah.
2 points because she got it right, and the math geniuses in the room weren't interacting with her. Sweet. So, the reason we broke up yesterday and we only practiced that part is because today we're going to be reading some word problems that should have 2 steps, which means we're going to get equations like this. But they want us to think, what's the first step question? Which part of our equation will we have to do first? So today, as you're reading problems, you're thinking, what do I do first? What are you going to be thinking?
What do I do first?
So you're really going to have to get your thinking caps on because we've got a really cool science experiment I want you to get to. Make sure your desk's cleared. Okay, you can have your markers out while I erase. Let's give us 10 seconds to get our spaces ready. Markers and erasers. 10, 9, 8,
Erasers.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Holy cow, we're gonna do another point. What do you say?
Oh, yeah.
I love this quick, quiet transitions, except for, make sure you got your marker and your eraser out. We are starting with those first step questions. So I want to just read this first one to you and kind of show you how this is going to look. So do you need your marker in your hand right now?
No.
No. Go ahead and grab your marker so you can keep being a respectful listener because now you're beating me 5-1. Let's keep this up. This is how this is going to work. You might want to be able to see my problem.
The board.
I did not. A roller coaster has 7 cars. Each car has 4 seats. If there were 3 empty seats, how many people were on the roller coaster? So if I'm solving this problem, I'm noticing there's 7 cars.
You forgot to erase the board.
I did not.
You're at the top.
I did not. Because you guys are going to want that to help you in solving these problems. Okay. So I could see that there were 7 cars, so I went ahead and drew those 7 cars. Each car has 4 seats. How would I represent this part? We got 7 cars with 4 seats in each car. Like 7 groups of 4 or 7. How do I represent 7
Or
groups of
4
4 as
groups
an
of
equation?
7.
7 times, there you go, 7 times 4. Now, if I have 7 times 4 here, and then they say, oh, we took care of this, there's 7 cars. We took care of each has 4 seats. And then they said, if there were 3 empty seats, how many people were there? So this is a full roller coaster. And then they're saying, okay, there's still 3 seats left over. How many people were on it? So out of all these seats, there were a bunch of people on the roller coaster and there were 3 empties. How would I represent that part of my equation? Skylar.
So you do
Minus
3.
minus 3 to get rid of those 3 empty ones to figure out how many people there were. Now, here's the tough part. Let me zoom back into my equation. They want to know what's the first step question. And what they mean by that is when you did this first step, this 7 times 4, what was this part representing?
It's 25.
Who thinks they know? Before we subtracted the empty seats,
We can't see that.
oh, I'm sorry. Before we subtracted the empty seats, what was this part representing in our problem? Macy? Seven carts with 4 people in each cart, yes. And really, that would be finding my total on the whole roller coaster, right? So when they're asking the first step question, they would want us to be like, how many people can sit on the roller coaster? Or how many seats are there in all? So that's what I would have written. I would have written, how many seats are on the roller coaster?
I know that one.
Because that's the first thing we found. And we found 7 groups of 4 is
28. 28.
28. And so I would answer it, 28. And then we subtracted
See that.
those empty ones. Sorry guys, I wanted to be zoomed so you could read it, but then I lose some of the stuff. So, okay. Then we subtracted and we said, well, there's not 28 people on it because how many seats were empty?
3.
3. So then we subtracted 3, and that's when their question comes in. How many people were on the roller coaster? Well, we found out this was 28. Minus 3 gives us,
26.
25.
ooh, not 26, 25
People.
people.
People's one of our
So this is the tough, it is one of our words, yeah. One of our spelling words this week. That's the part that's tricky, so I'm gonna do one more with you. Are you ready?
Yes, we are.
If you need to stand to focus for this one, you can. A lot of us look like we're getting a little tired, so. Each week, Marta earns $10 babysitting. She always spends $3 and saves the rest. How much does she save in 8 weeks? Each week she earns $10. She spends $3 and saves the rest. How much does she save in 8 weeks? What do you guys suppose we need to figure out first? To figure out how much she saves in 8 weeks, what do we have to find first? You can say no. This is gonna be our first step question. She gets $10 a week and she spends $3 and saves the rest. What would be the first thing you've gotta find, Brielle? Oh, but I'm listening, I wanna know the question, like what are you gonna try to find first? That's their question, in 8 weeks. If we wanna figure out how much she saves in 8 weeks, first we need to figure out, Hendrix,
How many money she spends?
Well, she spends $3 a week.
7 times 8.
No. Skylar?
10 times 8.
No. Dex? Let's say that I want to give you guys, let's say that I get $10 every week and I keep 3 for me and I give you guys the rest, right? And you want to know how much you get in 8 weeks. What do you have to figure out first?
That would be cents for
How many money do you give us?
Before you can figure out how much you'll get in 8 weeks, you've got to figure out how much you get in,
3.
Keegan?
8.
It will be 10 minus 3 times 8, but what were you finding when you did that 10 minus 3 step? If each week she gets $10, she spends 3 and she saves the rest, you're figuring out how much she saves
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
each week. How much does she save? How much does Marta save each week? Third grade. We have to figure out how much she saves in 1 week before we can figure out how many she's gonna have after 8 weeks, right? So that's what my first step question is asking. How much does she save each week? How much does she save in 1 week? Well, if she gets $10 and she spends 3 and keeps the rest, how much did she save? 7.
That's what I would.
So we can represent that with our equation. Keegan's so right. What did we do to get $7? A mathematician that was listening and can look at this and say, okay, we did this, this to get 7. Eli.
10 divided by 3 plus 8.
Not divided by, but just plain old minus, right? Because she had 10, she spent 3, so 10 minus 3. And then that told me that I got $7. Then to figure out if that's 1 week to get 8 weeks, what do you say we do? You take that and multiply it by 8, because it's 8 weeks, right? Now, here's the tricky part. Hocus pocus, garizzle. If you miss this part, you're gonna be having a hard time with these under your problems. Do we have to do a certain part first to get this right?
Yes.
What was the first step? What did our first question ask us to do? Addison.
Multiply or divide.
So when we found out how much she saved in 1 week, which step did we do first? The subtracting or the multiplying? We want to do the subtracting first. Does my order of operations tell me to subtract first? No, so this is where you get to add something in. What can we put around that subtraction step to make sure we do that first? Skylar? Parentheses. This is one where we would have to add parentheses to make sure that our readers solve that part first and then multiply. Do I have anybody who thinks they know our answer?
Oh, is it 7 times 8?
Mm-hmm. I think of sticks when I pick them up. What do you guys think? 56. How much does she save in 8 weeks? $56. So I'm going to write it as a dollar sign and then 56. I want to challenge you all. I want you thinking now, I want you to be able to write the first step question. Do I want to see an equation yet? No. Do I want to see an equation yet?
No.
Nope, not yet, because I know that's what your brain's going to really want to jump to do. But I just want to see the question. What are you going to try to find first?
The question.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Abu. Well, that makes me think of Aladdin. Abu bought 6 packs of stickers. Each pack had 8 stickers. Then Abu's friend gave him 10 more stickers.
6 times 8.
How many stickers does Abu have now? Friends, I don't want your equation. I don't want your answer, but I want to know, what do you have to find first before you can figure out how many stickers he has now? What's your first step going to be? Go ahead and write your question down on your desk. Online friends, this is going to be in your slides today, so you're going to write the question in your slides. If he bought 6 packs, So if he bought 6 pack of stickers and each pack had 8, think about what that's representing. What would you have to find from that before you can get 10 more to figure out how many he has now? So go ahead and use this time. Write down your question. What is the first thing that you are trying to solve? And we'll see how we do. Hey friends, I've got a trick for you to solve this, okay? Let me show you this. So, if we just start reading one sentence at a time. Abu bought 6 packs of stickers. Oh, too long. Each pack had 8 stickers, and then I pause. If you were going to write a question to solve that problem, what would it be? Abu bought 6 packs of stickers. Each pack had 8 stickers. If you had to make up the question for that problem, what would it be? Skylar.
How many stickers does he buy?
How many stickers did he buy? Well, guess what? That's your question. That's the part that you're going to write. So your first step question would be, how many stickers does Abu buy? B-U-Y. How many does he buy? Who can solve that part for me? If he got 6 packs of 8, 6 times 8. There's a jingle. 6 and 8 went on a date when they came back.
They're 48.
So how many stickers did he buy?
48.
Okay. Now we got that question and answer just based on my first 2 sentences. He bought 6 packs of stickers. Each pack had 8 stickers. Now we're ready to do their second step. Who wants to read this next sentence for me? Keegan, loud and proud.
Then Abu's friend gave him 10 more stickers.
Ooh, 10 more stickers.
58.
So far you did 6 times 8 to get 48. How would I represent 10 more stickers?
When they came back, they're
I'm looking for,
58.
I've heard from the same 4 mathematicians over and over again today. Who's going to join the club? Miss Maddie. If his friend gave him 10 more, what operation would I use to show that? Plus 10, right? So that's how we get 10 more. 48 plus 10 would be 58 stickers. The last thing we have to check is we're making sure that this is a reasonable equation.
This would I.
My order of operations says I must multiply before I add. Is that what we did for this problem? Is that what we did for this problem? Yes. So do I need to add any parentheses?
No.
No. That one's good to go.
This
Ready
is
to
what
try
I
again?
said- This is what I said
Friend,
tonight.
I don't even need you to write down your question this one. I just want to hear it from you. So be ready, be thinking, because I'm going to use my
I
randomizer.
have a question about that.
Yes, sir.
I wrote my equation 6 times 8 equals 48 plus 10 equals 58.
Oh, great question. So I actually do want you to write it as a 2-step equation. So I want to see both of your operations together, and don't put the 48 in there.
That's why we're putting the 48 after our question. Thanks for asking that, Skylar.
Why do we put the 48 there?
It's because you already know 48, so you don't have to add it down here because they don't give you enough space. And then you can just add 10 more. But they don't want it in that equation.
Isn't it like that E? Up on the board that is excused?
Nope. Nope. That would be like your square numbers. You'll learn about that later. Alright. 21. Oh, come on, guys. 21. Number 21. I'm just going to stop after the first 2 sentences because I think that's going to be way easier for our brains. Are you ready?
Yes, we are.
Zoe made some snacks. She put 4 apple slices and 2 melon slices on each plate. I already got something there. If we ended after those first 2 sentences, who's got a question for me? Zoe made some snacks. She put 4 apple slices and 2 melon slices on each plate. What might you ask? Savannah.
How many snacks?
How many snacks are on?
On each plate.
How many snacks are on each plate? Or maybe say, how many slices of fruit are on each plate? How many slices are on each plate? But that's gonna be our question, okay? I'm gonna say slices. How
Do we have three?
many, nope, slices are on each plate? Now here's where you guys get to start writing. If there's 4 apple slices and 2 melon slices on each plate, how would we represent that as part of our two-step equation? Mr. Dax, if it's 4 apple slices and 2 melon slices, how would I represent that? What does and usually tell me to do in math? Groups tells me to multiply, but and tells me to do something else usually. Plus, because there's just 4 apple slices and 2 melon slices. So we would, our first step would be 4 plus 2. What is 4 plus 2? Is that for me? River? 6. So we know there's 6 slices on each plate. Let's continue reading our problem. Read with me here. She prepared 5 plates. How many slices of fruit did Zoe use in all? If there's 6 slices on each plate and she prepared 5 plates, what do I need to add to this equation to make that, Landon?
2 times 5.
Yes, so I don't need to put 2 times 5, but I need to add that times 5 part at the end, right? So first we did 4 plus 2, and then we multiplied it by 5 to figure out how many were on all of the plates. My friends, if we added first in this problem, does that follow my order of operations up top? No, so what do I need to add in? Parentheses, so we make sure we do this first. 4 plus 2 is 6 times 5 gives me 30 slices of fruit.
Is slices gonna be one of our standards?
Here's the deal. Online friends, I was wrong. 20 was too tough. Now that we've learned our new strategy, it's actually this one. I'm going to read the first 2 sentences, and then I want you guys, this one I actually want you writing the question, and online friends will too. Okay? Are you ready?
Yes, we are.
Kyle ordered 8 pizzas for his party. Each pizza was cut into 8 slices. What would our first step question be? Write it down. And remember, if this is a question, it starts with a capital and ends with a question mark, right? If you ordered 8 pizzas and each pizza was cut into 8 slices, what would your question be?
How many slices?
Write it down. Write it down. That's what I'm going to be checking. Pause your video, online friends, if you need more time. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording for a minute.